the excitement is gone. It's about embracing the grind, trusting the process, and knowing that the small, consistent actions you take today are shaping the person you will become tomorrow. Imagine waking up every morning, not asking yourself if you feel like doing something, but simply deciding to do it because you committed to it. Imagine no longer being a prisoner to your moods, your emotions, or the circumstances of the day. That shift alone can redefine your entire future. We live in a world that celebrates instant gratification. We want results and we want them now. We chase shortcuts, hacks, and quick fixes, hoping to bypass the discomfort of discipline. But true success, meaningful success, is never instant. It is earned through patience, effort, and the willingness to do the work even when no one is watching. Think of the stories we admire most. The ones that inspire us, they are never stories of people who had it easy. They are stories of perseverance.
Order filled.
Of people who kept going when everything in them screamed to stop. They are the stories of those who chose discipline over motivation. Consider a runner training for a marathon. On the first day, motivation is high, the vision is clear, the energy is there, but what about the 30th day? When their legs are sore, when the weather is bad, when the excitement is gone? What keeps them going? It's not motivation, it's the commitment they made. It's the understanding that the goal is not achieved in a single run, but in the thousands of steps taken when no one is watching. Discipline is about making decisions based on who you want to become, not how you feel in the moment. It is about recognizing that discomfort is not a signal to stop, but a necessary part of growth. The road to anything worthwhile will be filled with moments of doubt, exhaustion, and setbacks. But it is in those moments, when motivation has disappeared, that your true character is built. Think about the last time you wanted to give up on something. Maybe it was a goal, a project, a dream. Maybe you told yourself you weren't cut out for it, that it was too hard, that you just didn't have the motivation anymore. But what if you had pushed through? What if you had embraced the discomfort instead of running from it? What if, instead of waiting for motivation to return, you had relied on discipline to carry you forward? The people we admire, those who accomplish incredible things, aren't necessarily the most talented or the most privileged. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who choose to act day after day, not because they always feel like it, but because they have decided that their commitment is greater than their emotions. Now, imagine if you applied that same mindset to your own life. Imagine what would happen if you showed up every day, not just when you felt like it, but because you decided to. Imagine where you would be a year from now if you stopped relying on motivation and started relying on discipline. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how you feel, it's about what you do consistently over time. The question isn't whether you're motivated, the question is whether you're committed. And that decision, that choice is entirely up to you. We live in a world that celebrates speed. We admire those who seem to make quantum leaps, those who appear to achieve greatness overnight. The stories we tell, the headlines we read, they all make it seem like success happens in a single defining moment. But the truth is, real success, meaningful change, and true mastery are never the result of a single moment. They are the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. We tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in a single day, yet we vastly underestimate what we can achieve over the course of a year. We set ambitious goals, aiming to change our lives in an instant, only to become discouraged when we fall short. But what if the key isn't in the grand gestures, but in the quiet daily commitments we make to ourselves? Think about a drop of water. It seems insignificant on its own, but given enough time, that drop of water can carve canyons into solid rock. The power of small daily actions is often invisible in the moment, but their impact is undeniable over time. The difference between success and failure isn't found in one big effort, but in the small choices we make consistently. Science backs this up. A study from the University of London found that on average, it takes 66 days to form a habit. Not 21 days, not 30, but 66. That means that if you decide today to commit to a small positive action, writing 200 words, reading for 10 minutes, or exercising for 15, you may not see the impact immediately, but over time, these small actions compound. Imagine where you'll be in a year. It's easy to look at others who are ahead and feel like we're falling behind. We compare ourselves to those who have already achieved what we desire. And in doing so, we forget the most important part of their journey, the invisible work, the daily discipline, the moments when no one was watching, when no applause was given, when the only thing that kept them going was their own belief that small actions would lead to something greater. A bricklayer doesn't build a wall in a single day, but by showing up, by placing one brick at a time with care and precision, eventually a wall stands. A structure that can withstand storms, support weight, and last for generations. But it all started with that first brick. The same is true for any pursuit worth chasing. It's about showing up today, then tomorrow, and the day after that. It's about trusting the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Think of a runner training for a marathon. They don't start by running 26 miles. They start with a single mile, then they do it again the next day. And the next, their legs hurt, they feel tired, but they show up because they know that each run, no matter how short, is a step toward their goal. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes
Order filled.
We admire the final product, but rarely appreciate the process. The best-selling author who releases their latest book spent years writing in silence, struggling with drafts that no one ever saw. The world-class musician who captivates audiences practiced scales for hours on end, perfecting each note when no one was listening. The entrepreneur who built a thriving business made countless small decisions that, in the moment, felt insignificant. It's not about talent. or luck. It's about consistent effort. The problem is we live in a culture that demands instant results. If we don't see progress immediately, we assume something isn't working. We give up too soon, thinking that if we can't see change, it must not be happening. But real change, the kind that lasts, is like planting a seed. You water it, you nurture it, but for a long time, nothing appears to be happening. Then, one day, it breaks through the soil. And that's when everyone notices. But the work was being done long before that first green shoot emerged. We can all recall times in our lives when we wanted something so badly, only to give up when it didn't happen fast enough. But what if we had kept going? What if we had trusted that small, consistent actions would eventually lead to breakthroughs? What if instead of focusing on the outcome, we focused on the process? The greatest breakthroughs in history didn't happen in an instant. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. He failed over 1,000 times, but he kept going. He believed that each small adjustment, each experiment was bringing him closer to success. And in the end, it did. So the question is, what small action can you commit to today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today, because today is all we have. And today is the perfect day to start. Will you choose to write those 200 words? Will you choose to take a short walk? Will you choose to make that one phone call, to take that first step toward your dream? It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be consistent, because small daily actions, when repeated over time, lead to extraordinary results, the kind of results that others call luck, the kind of results that look like overnight success, but are in fact the result of unseen effort. And the best part, you don't have to wait for some perfect moment to begin, you just have to start today. Consistency is not just a practice, it is the foundation upon which trust is built. Trust is the most valuable currency in relationships, in business, and in leadership. It is not given freely, nor can it be demanded. It is earned through action, through reliability, and through the unwavering commitment to being who we say we are. When we lack consistency, we erode trust, not only with others, but within ourselves. And when we lose trust in ourselves, we begin to question our capabilities, our decisions, and our own potential. Think about a time when you made a promise to yourself. Maybe you told yourself you'd wake up early to exercise, or that you'd finally start that business, or that you'd be more present with your family. But then life happened, you hit snooze, you put off that big idea, you allowed distractions to steal your attention.
Order filled.
It didn't seem like a big deal, but what really happened was something deeper, something more profound. You broke trust with yourself. And when you do that over and over again, it sends a message to your own subconscious that your word doesn't hold weight, that your commitments are flexible, that you are not someone who follows through. And the worst part, the next time you set a goal, a tiny voice whispers, why bother? You won't stick to it anyway. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine that every time you set a goal, you followed through. Every time you made a promise, you kept it. Imagine the confidence, the strength, the unshakable belief you would build within yourself. Because that's what consistency does. It creates proof. Proof that you are someone who shows up no matter how you feel. Proof that you can be counted on by others and by yourself. And that kind of proof is what builds an identity. When you are consistent, people notice, not because of grand gestures, but because of small, steady, reliable actions. Think about the people in your life